We've had major setbacks on our homestead, and we are still waiting on the water and propane to be placed inside our building here, which is Tennessee Elmina's outdoor kitchen. And we were hoping to keep it completely off grid. We may be partially off grid, and you'll see why towards the end of this. But I wanted to get into that, and I also want to show you how our garden is doing, considering we have been sick for weeks and not able to really get out here and do much with the garden. We were able to get the chickens fed and watered. Thankfully, my husband did that work, but I am still croupy and sick. Not contagious, but just croupy. And I appreciate all the prayers that we've had from all of you wonderful folks out there. And I thank you. I want you to come along with me as we do this journey together. The cost of adding propane and a water line to this property can be quite expensive. And I'm going to break it down to you, but at first I want to tell you that the building I'm sitting at cost $6,000. We paid it off in payments, and we were grateful. I'm already sweating, y'all. I was grateful to the Amish that had a building that was already move-in ready, that we could purchase, and I love this little building. It is my prayer room, my canning room. It's going to be a studio for many of my videos, and just so many other things that I can do out here away from the house. The rising cost of utilities is staggering. Even in our little community here, our utility bills have gone up, and we've noticed that. That's one of the reasons we decided we needed to have an alternative to canning inside our mobile home. The move of the building was $1,000, and we were able to barter services for cutting down the trees and getting all those trees cleared and getting the gravel laid to place the house on it so it was ready for the house to be moved in. And y'all, I didn't bring any tissues, and my nose is running. Aprons come in handy for so many things. And I've got to be out here bothering us. Go on, B. Okay, go on, B. Okay, my neighbor's got honeybees. So we had a contractor ghost us, and we have been waiting for this well man to call back with estimates to run the water lines, and he's never called back. So we are assuming that he does not want to do the work. So our stovetop was installed. We purchased this for about $100, I believe, used, and I still haven't put it all together because we're going to have to take it out, get the countertop sealed, and y'all pardon the mess, but here is our sink. And this unit is, I think, 6 to 8 feet long. I can't remember. I'm going to pan around. And you have to pardon all the mess that is in the building right now. My husband brought me home a round table with 4 chairs. It's absolutely beautiful, but you can see it's quite a depth going down. And we're actually going to turn the sink around and the stovetop around in the table that he's built, so that I will be behind that when I'm canning and filming. Okay, so I'm sitting at the farm table that we have in here, and this will probably be sold to help us make up some of the money that we're going to need later on to get everything out here plumbed and ready to go. So I brought my little clipboard with me, and we're going to be talking about the cost. Canning takes up an immense amount of energy. Propane and water. You fill your jars, you process them, and later on cleaning and storing those jars take up energy as well, my personal energy. It's hands-on, it's physical labor. The catch-22 is I need water and propane to run my canners. Right now I have none of that out here. So setting up takes time, money, and reliable help. While I wait, I'm dehydrating and freezing what I can. And my freezers are getting full, and so I'm going to be doing more dehydrating if I have to get that food processed so it can be on the shelves for long-term storage until this building is set up. I have a freezer full of tomatoes from the garden. Excuse me, folks. The cost of drilling a well system can cost up to $4,000 to $15,000, with state averages around $8,800. In West Tennessee, the water tables are about 100 foot where we live at, because we live on an aquifer. The Notice of Intent, NOI, filed through the Department of Environmental and Conservation, TDEC, runs about $50 to $75, and a mandatory water quality testing can run anywhere from $100 to $500. Quite expensive. The solar well pump kits add $200 to $1,500 if they aren't bundled directly with the kit. Mounting and wiring is another $300 to $800. We're planning on going low tech as possible and being frugal as possible with our money, because, to be honest with you, my husband's injury and him being out of work for the injury, and then us both getting sick, has cost us tremendously as far as wages are concerned. You know, that bring home pay really does come in handy when you need to pay bills and you have projects planned that you were planning on that money for. So we have to figure out how we're going to do this in a way that will be satisfying and will be cost effective and winterized, because we get some snow, ice, and storms like that, and we need to make sure that our lines are not going to freeze. With that said, low tech would be a simple hand pump or a flow jack, which means it's completely off grid. You have to physically pump the water, and it can range from $200 to $2,000. And it would bypass the wiring, inverters, and power bills. So that was our goal, was not to have to pay anything to run the water. A gravity-fed rainwater containment or catchment system using IBC totes or barrels and positioning them elevated so that they would give basic water needs and pressure for washing without a pump at all, and that is another option that we may go with. I don't know yet how we're going to do this, but we do have an IBC tote in our backyard, and we could fill it up and use it to wash our dishes inside the building. Gas-powered transfer pumps, if you need to move high-volume water quickly. A small portable gas transfer pump can do the job in minutes, though we would have to factor in the ongoing cost and hassle of gasoline, which is a flammable. Our plan for the future will be a hand pump right beside our Tennessee Elmina's kitchen. That's our long-term plan. Don't know when that's going to happen because it's quite costly. The PVC casing and drilling will cost anywhere from $25 to $85 per linear foot. Our well is about 75 to 100 feet deep. Hardware is $1,500 to $2,800. Drip pipes and rods are $8 to $12 per foot. Estimated cost will be between $5,500 and $11,000. And because our water table is lower than 200 to 250 feet, the low end would be $2,800 to $5,800 to place that pump outside our homestead kitchen. A less off-grid idea is to tap into the house water lines, which is what our well man had suggested for us to do, which means running a trench for both propane and water lines that is below the frost levels, and no extra pump will be needed. But it will mean my water will be on the electric grid because our well pumps are on the electric grid. PEX tubing is about 50 cents to $2 per linear foot. The trench should be about 18 inches deep. I would prefer it probably to be a little deeper, about 2 feet deep. It depends on the local codes and the exact soil. We can rent a trencher and bypass contractor fees. Because Tennessee Elmina's kitchen is unheated during the winter, we need to make sure that we install shut-off valves or blow out and shut off the water during freezing snaps. Estimated cost of PEX tubing and fitting roughly is $40 to $150. Trenching equipment is $125 to $200 a day. Shut off drain valves and installation is $30 to $60. The grand total between $200 and $400. The propane, we will need a yellow polyethylene HDPE gas pipe, which costs $1 to $3 per linear foot. The overall cost will be roughly $75 to $225 for materials. Safety shut-off valves and risers, transition fittings, and required outdoor safety shut-off valves at both ends are typically adding another $75 to $150. The trenching is done for both lines, so we'll use one trench for both lines, saving some money. Because our main propane tank is next to our house, that will save us a lot of money. And we do pay for the propane through one of the electrical companies in our area. The trenching is done for both lines, like I said. The estimated cost is $275 to $575 because propane is flammable and under pressure. Many homesteaders choose to hire a local gas technician to do the final hookup and pressure test at the tank and the building, which can add a couple of $100, but it ensures everything is safe and up to code. The trench, once and done, is $125 to $200 for a single day. That's to rent the trencher. Water line materials would be $40 to $150. The propane line materials would be $150 to $375. Valves and safety hardware would be another $30 to $60, with a total cost for both will run between $345 to $785. That's a great difference from the original numbers that I gave you. By deciding to lay both lines on the same trench means spacing them about 12 inches apart as code guidelines. We may do them a little further apart, depending on how wide the trench is dug. And general practices suggest that we need to do it at least 12 inches apart. That way, if either line needs to be repaired, you don't accidentally damage the other line. I believe the last is our best option to get Tennessee Elmina's kitchen up and running. It may take time, and it may be next spring, because the loss of wages during hubby's injury and sickness is a financial setback for us. This is why my channel is so important as a financial source for us. It will help buffer the cost. Ways you can help me is by watching the full videos and watching those pesky ads. I know they're annoying, but that is how I get paid. The money earned will help us offset the expenses of financially being able to can in the new kitchen. And y'all, I really am thrilled to be out in this building where I can come out here and I can pray. These walls are saturated with prayer. It brings me joy to be out here, and I want to be out here canning already, but I'm having to wait. So patience plays into this. And I know that y'all are eager for me to get this up and running. And so I'm asking you to please share my videos out. Watch the entire videos beginning to end, and to watch those ads and help me to get that money rolling in that we need so desperately to get this done. With hubby being out of work for about a month with the injury and another 3 weeks with illness, that's 7 weeks without pay, and that really hurt us financially. So he is the breadwinner in our family. I do get a small, very, very small Social Security check. It's SSR for retirement, and it's a portion of what I would have gotten if they had put me on full Social Security. So that little check buffered some of the bills that were coming in at the time and helped us to pay our bills on time without falling behind on those. But otherwise, you know, this has really hurt us in 2026 with the illness and the injury. And we have lost the majority of our garden. I'm fixing to show you that. We didn't get the entire garden put in. There was overgrowth of grass because my husband literally could not get out there and mow. We've had drought conditions. We've had rain. We've had triple-digit heat index. All of these have played into the garden. So let's get out there and check it out. This that you see here along the fence line to the Victory Garden, that's how high the grass and stuff was inside our garden. I've got a bee over here bothering me. And I can barely get the gate open, but my husband did get in there and get some of that grass mowed down so that I could get to the plants out here. 3 weeks of being sick has not helped us. We weren't able to get out and water the garden. Of course, it rained, and we were able to move around a little bit. Let me close this gate. I don't want any critters coming in. But y'all can see we got quite a mess back here. And this Husqvarna did the job. I'm still spitting up the crud. I got a bee, y'all. So you can see we don't have much out here that we can harvest. Everything has just pretty much dried up. I'm out here to see if we have any carrots. And all of this stuff needs to be cut back. I might be able to collect a few seed. I don't know. But we're going to try to see if there's any carrots left. And I got to figure out which buckets the carrots were in. And of course the weeds took over because I wasn't able to get outside from the heat index. We are expecting triple-digit heat index today and probably the remainder of the week. Dig into the dirt. And I am absolutely not seeing anything in this bucket. I'm not feeling any carrots. Let me try the other one. We know we had them in here. And I got a sticky in here that I don't want to be getting my hands on. And absolutely no carrots. Unless they're deep in there, I'm not feeling any. Okay, we're going to walk over here and we're going to look at the celery. if I can get to it. Yes, you bees did your job. Sorry about my angles, folks. I've got a pesky bee out here, and having a little trouble getting my camera phone in place. But that's all of the celery, and it's really not salvageable. I'm gonna feed this to our chickens, and that bee is right on my phone. All right, these were the Amish paste. I might be able to get some seed out of some of these overripe tomatoes that remain on the vine, but really they did not produce very well this year. What I'll probably do is cut them open and get them on a screen, and hopefully I can get them fermented and ready to dry. So there's the remaining of them. Here is the strawberry plants. They're still trying to produce, and I've got a few weeds in that bed as well. Y'all, it is a weedy mess out here. Just a weedy mess. Okay, we are in the survival seed area. I'm going to start down here. I believe this is the Brandywine tomato plants. So we may get a few tomatoes for the fall. And this has finally gotten tall. And it is the Cow Wonder bell peppers. I'm not seeing any bell peppers yet, but that's what that is. This is the Roma tomato plants. I need to get out here and stake my tomato plants. Some marigolds that I planted, and an old sink. This is the shishito peppers, and there are blooms, and I think we got some peppers. This is the basil. It is Genovese basil. It's doing very, very well. The eggplant has not produced anything this year. This is not part of the survival seeds, but because of the bad soil choice, it was actually mulch that was brought in, and we tried to amend it, and nothing is growing in it. We lost a lot of tomato plants early on, but this is where all the Romas were at that did survive. And I've got a few buds right there. I don't know if we're going to get anything else out of here or not, but we are planning on pulling up these tomatoes and planting sweet potatoes in behind it. And here's the interesting thing about this. This was soil that we purchased, that we tried to put on top of the mulch. And of course we lost the tomatoes, y'all can see that, but the marigolds have held on. Really surprising to me that the marigolds did hold on. We got a few little Romas there. I don't know if we'll get big enough to eat or not, but we lost about 15 of those plants. Here is the celery I bought from the Amish. And you can see there's some yellowing on the leaves because of lack of water, even though it rained, and the overextended amount of heat that we've had this summer. This was the two other tomato plants that we bought, and you can see they're struggling as well. And something has ate that one down to the nub. There's some irises that I need to get moved. This was my bed of oregano, and it literally dried on the vine. It still smells like oregano, but it's not very strong. What I'll do is I'll probably cut this back, get all the weeds out I can in the spring, and see if it comes back. And these are the buckets that we pulled that we didn't do anything with. I never was able to get out here and weed like I wanted to do. Here is my eucalyptus. It's not doing well. And I've got 3 buckets of hot peppers out here, but I can't find but one. There is, it looks like maybe, no, that's a weed. That bucket I had started cleaning out. It had the Queen Anne's lace in it. There is what's left. Y'all, I'm sorry. My husband is a junk collector. But here is the dill. And of course, I didn't get out here to collect the seed, although there are seed there. There is the other eucalyptus. It did not make it. And this is our jalapenos. Y'all, we have buds. And we have 1 jalapeno plant. So maybe we'll get a few jalapenos and some other things out of the garden before winter hits. But I'm not looking forward to it. I had planted some coneflowers in here, and they just dried up. I'm going to try to collect the seed off of the seed heads and maybe try to replant them in the spring. But that is pretty much it on the garden. Thank you, friends, for coming along today and learning a little bit about the struggles that we're dealing with on the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch, and what we're going to do about it and how we're going to go about it is yet to be seen, but we have got to save the money to get the work done. We may do it in sections and get one line, get all the materials for one line, and then go and purchase the second line, and then the third, of course, would be installing the trench and getting everything hooked up and ready to go. So y'all be praying for us that we can do this quickly. We are looking at probably next spring to really have a functioning kitchen at this point. And we hope that we don't have any more trauma and lack of funds rolling in, and just everyday things that happen. We depend on God first, and we know that every provision comes through Him. So I want to thank you, friends, for being here. For the 3,000 subscribers to my channel, thank you, thank you, thank you for watching and being a part of this journey. And thank you for our channel members who financially support us each month. Be blessed and a blessing.